So we're at the air ambulance base, and yesterday we looked at the helicopter. Today we're going to go and see the cars where all the gear is. They're going to explain what's going on. I'm just in the little reception bit, or whatever they call it, where all their stuff is stored. So we'll have a look. Quick, here, look. Here's the team: Rusty, Sutton, Vicky Brown, and the guys are leading on. Right.
Thanks, Rich. After us. Rich, this is Callum. This is one of our
Callum, hi mate.
Callum, nice to meet you.
All right.
Yeah, come this way, we can have a look at the car.
Wow, is this like a garage, is it?
This is a hangar.
Can I take this off?
Where the aircraft will come overnight.
You take it off, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you bring the helicopters in at night then, do you?
Helicopter comes in overnight, yeah.
Wow, look at this, massive, isn't it? I had no idea you had a huge hangar. To be honest, I was a bit naive. I just assumed that you just left it parked out all the time on the concrete.
Comes in
But I guess,
for maintenance.
yeah.
And then this is the machine they bring it in on. So this lifts it up.
Yeah.
Helicopter's on the skids. These
Of course,
things,
it's got no wheels, is it? You can't just roll it in,
That's
can
right.
you?
So these things grab the skids and lift
Right.
it up, hydraulic.
Wow.
And a single pilot, the pilot is then trusted to.
Scooter in £1 million aircraft. Wow. I'm glad that's not my job.
There's a training room that runs on
Right.
this building as well. Then
Garage, is it?
garage.
Wow.
Once we walk in, we'll
Blimey. Oh,
we've got
Oh, you-
three cars.
so they're all electric. I had no idea.
So they're not electric. This
Oh, that's the charging the equipment.
charges all the equipment and
Right.
the electronics on the car and that kind
Oh,
of thing.
okay.
So obviously in the front of the car there's a little data terminal that gives us information on the job. So it charges that, and then also a lot of the equipment has to be on charge, so we'll charge the equipment when we're not using it.
So your role is basically, I think your colleague on the helicopter, Jack, was saying that you decide whether it's worth taking the helicopter or taking the car. So would you have the same equipment on this vehicle as you've got in the helicopter?
Yeah, so it's one team, so the same team is on the helicopter and the car, and then when the job comes in we make a decision on whether to go by helicopter or car. So no matter whether we arrive in the helicopter or in the car, we carry the exact same kit
Right.
and perform the exact same interventions. So it's the same level of care that you get no matter whether the helicopter arrives or the car. It just the decision around helicopter or car is purely on what will get us to the patient quickest and what will get us to the patient safest. So like if this morning we went out on the car because the weather wasn't great, so we didn't have enough visibility to be able to get to the scene in the helicopter, so we take the car. Whereas obviously on a normal situation most places will get to quicker by taking the helicopter.
I noticed you've got 3 vehicles here.
Yeah.
So how often are all 3 out?
So we have 2 teams on most of the time. So we have a team that runs from 7 till 7 during the day, and then there's also either a late team which runs from 1 o'clock till 1 in the morning, or sometimes they'll be on from 7 at night to 7 in the morning overnight. So 2 cars are operational at a time, and then the 3rd car is a spare in case
sort of
there's
backup. Right.
in case there's any issues, or occasionally for special events and stuff we might put a 3rd team
So
in.
generally you're running 2.
Generally 2 cars, because obviously like all cars they have mechanical issues and that kind of thing, so we need to
You don't want
have a
to
spare. We don't want to be unavailable.
Fair enough. I know that feeling with tractors actually. We have a spare tractor, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to walk around the outside if you don't mind, just see,
go for
and
it.
then we'll have a little look at the rest of it. Oh, very well logoed up, aren't they? You can see when you turn up somewhere, it's no mistaking who you are, is it? Which is very important, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's good to have the critical care logos and stuff like that, and then good to show the charity's logo out and about.
So when you're going out in these cars, is it the same as the helicopter? How many crew would you? I call them crew, but what do you call them? How many people are going on here?
Yeah, it's generally the same. So depending on the shift, usually we would have a specialist paramedic in critical care and a critical care doctor. If there's people in training like myself, or if we've got a doctor in training, etc., then we might run 2 paramedics and a doctor, or vice versa. And then occasionally it'll just be a solo or a dual critical care paramedic team.
Right.
So yeah, the late team is purely based on the car,
Okay.
and the early team that run from 7 to 7 will be the same team between the car and the helicopter.
So are they fairly standard inside? The front of the car is pretty standard, is it?
Have a look at this one. Yeah, they're pretty standard.
Skodas, are they?
They're Skoda Kodiaks. Yeah.
Right, got big sat nav. Probably the most important thing for you two is to have a really good sat nav, isn't it?
Yeah,
Because you've got to
exactly.
find these places in all conditions.
Exactly. So yeah, that's the mobile data terminal. So that shows us where we're going and gives us
Right.
information on the job.
Yeah.
Then we've got a radio in there to talk to the control room.
Oh, okay. I see that.
And that panel above that is controls our blue lights and sirens and that.
And in the back here, you've got, well, I can just see.
The back is just
Again, fairly standard,
but we've just got some places to hold gloves and
Yeah.
face masks and PPE and that kind of thing. But a pretty standard setup for a Skoda.
Do you get stressed when you go on this job sometimes when you sort of, it's very intense, isn't it?
Yeah, it can be, but we're lucky in that we get very good training, and we've got a good team that supports us. So we work together to try and reduce that amount of stress. And if we're not on jobs, we generally do simulation training and that kind of thing. So
when you arrive at the scene of any accident, or I say an accident, could be anything.
Yep.
What's the first thing you do? How do you deal with it? Do you assess it, or because you can't just jump straight in there in case there's hazards, I guess.
You start assessing the call from the moment that you get told the details on the radio. Really,
Right.
You start thinking about things, thinking how you're going to manage it. But yeah, once you arrive on scene, I guess it's quite important early to size things up. When you're walking into a house or when you're on the road, you're looking at safety. Are you safe? Is everyone else safe? Is the patient safe? But also, you're already thinking, how am I going to get this patient out to the ambulance? If you're in the top floor of a house, how are we going to get down? And so yeah, you start assessing things straight away. And then when you arrive at the patient, we kind of run through what we call a primary survey. So it's we look for anything that's immediately life-threatening to the patient that we need to intervene on there and then. So yeah, you're constantly assessing everything, and obviously on the drive down as well, you're assessing all the flight, no matter what way you do, the conditions of the weather and the other people around.
And when you get to the place, you basically treat them and stabilise them before you then take them off to the hospital, I guess, or
exactly.
or maybe it's not always as bad as that. Is it? Some people you can just sort of patch up if you like and leave there, can you? Or
the ambulance service goes out to a lot of people that they refer on to different pathways or don't take to hospital. Most of our patients, due to the nature of our job, go to hospital because they require further care. So yeah, we'll provide any kind of interventions that we need to stabilise the patient, but with the goal of trying to get them to definitive care. If that's surgery or having the arteries in their heart opened up, etc. Get them there as quickly as possible and as stable as possible.
Yeah, sure. Well, that's amazing. I think. Speaking for myself, I think Great Western Air Ambulance, you think helicopter, you don't think that there's these vehicles as well behind it. And what we're seeing here today is the whole thing, rather than just a helicopter you might fly by. I'm seeing the base, the control room. There's so much to it, and there's so many people involved with it. We're nearly finished now. I think I'm going to ask Joe if we can just go and see the final room. And anything else you want to add, Joe?
Well, Rich, before we go and have a look at the medical room, would you like to see the lights?
The lights? What, disco? Lead on, mate. What do you mean by the lights?
The blue lights.
The blue lights. So are these going to go a bit groovy? Let's stand back. How bright are they? Are they pretty bright?
They're pretty bright.
Are they?
Yeah.
He says. Oh, they are bright. Blimey. Wow. God, they're really bright, aren't they? I don't know how... They really stand out, even in daylight.
Yeah, you shouldn't miss us.
No, well that's exactly what you need, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm sure as much as anything, it's the reassurance when they see you guys arriving, seeing the lights and the vehicle.
That's what we aim for.
You know,
yeah.
That's got to make people feel a lot better.
Yeah,
Glad to see you.
We, we always aim to make a difference to people,
Yeah.
and if that's through medical intervention, then great. But if that's just by some reassurance and talking to them and calming them down, then perfect.
Brilliant. Brilliant. We're just going in operations room. Just have a quick look.
Yeah, so this is the.
This is where the nerve centre where it is.
So Jack, you've met Vicky
Yeah.
and James here. Vicky's
Hello.
our advanced paramedic and critical care.
Wow.
James is one of our doctors.
I bet there's a lot of admin with this job, isn't there? As soon as you finish, you go.
Paperwork and
Yeah.
Vicky obviously sort of looks after the clinical side of operations and stuff here, so she's got a whole heap of extra
I have a lot of work.
stuff.
Yeah.
and training.
Just like farming, there's more
Yeah.
paperwork than there is
Yeah.
actually doing the work sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
And you've got a lovely view out the window there, haven't you, of a helicopter? That looks good to me. And I've just noticed behind there, you've got this big map. Now, is that actually the area you cover?
Pretty much, yeah.
That's
So
pretty-
obviously we are tasked outside of that area, so we go anywhere that we're needed.
So we're here, just to give people an idea.
The one, yep.
We're here, and our farm is just there. Little square there. So we're near in the middle, really, of your... Is that the whole... Do you go out all to that?
Yeah, so you've
That's
got
a big
Wales
area,
over on
isn't
that
it?
side,
Wow.
but we do go into Wales to assist them at times.
That is a big area, isn't it?
So this kind
Wow.
of our area plus the edges of some other
Yeah.
air ambulance services areas, but we go across to those areas to assist them if required.
That is amazing, isn't it? Well, that's really good. Thanks for showing me that. That's awesome.
Yeah, no worries.
Right.
Cameron, would it be alright if we go and have a look at the medical room?
The training room.
Training room?
Yeah,
Let's have a quick look in there. Brilliant.
Thank you. So, I think what I'm hoping...
Okay, so we are in the training room. What you can't see in front of me is it looks like I'm in a morgue with plastic people. I'm going to spin it round. Look at this. Look at this. Oh my goodness. This is quite weird, isn't it? We'll have a chat. Oh my goodness, a baby. Crikey. This person looks like, yeah. So I think I'll have a chat with you, sir. Perhaps you can tell me what exactly we're doing in here. What exactly you're doing in here.
Yeah, so this room, there's a lot of individual kind of aspects that we use to train specific skills and that kind of thing. Otherwise, there's a lot of, as you can see, different mannequins and equipment that we can use to set up a whole kind of scenario, so a whole job, so we run through it and can practice and train. So I guess over here we've got a number of different heads and airway heads.
Right, so is
we-
this for CPR?
So
Or
not
just-
these ones. So these ones we use to practice intubation, so inserting a tube
Oh, right, so-
to breathe for a
Really?
patient.
Oh, is that why there's sort of cuts there? Is
So
what
that
you-
one's for a surgical
Wow.
airway. So some patients you can't put an endotracheal tube in, you can't put it in as you normally would, and so the only way to kind of ventilate that patient is by cutting a hole into their trachea through their neck and putting the tube in that way.
So you're practicing on here, and this is the right way to do
So
it.
we
'Cause you don't
can-
want to practice on a real person, really,
exactly
do you?
Right, yeah. So we
Goodness.
can practice here with normal laryngoscopes. We've got a video laryngoscope
Yeah.
as well. So
Wow.
give us pictures, and then
Crikey.
obviously we treat the whole range of people from the very elderly to the very newborn or
Wow.
pre-term born.
Yeah.
So a range of ages and
Cool.
sizes to practice on.
Looks like this one's been around a while.
it's been
It's been well
through the wars
used,
a
isn't
bit,
it?
hasn't
eh?
Yeah.
But that's probably no worse than some people you see when you're out on the job, I'm sure.
Yeah, exactly right.
And
yeah.
what's this here? This is
So this one's just a chest, and there's, as you can see, some holes here again. So
Yeah.
this is to perform. We practice performing chest decompressions
Right.
through finger thoracostomy. So if someone's got a build-up of air or blood in their pleural cavity that's just collapsing a lung and stopping them breathing properly, we can do a surgical skill to put a hole in the side of their chest, which decompresses and allows their lung to expand again.
So how often do you train?
So every day.
Every day.
Yeah. So there's obviously
Right.
a whole heap of training to get to this stage and to qualify. But kind of the team will come in each morning and we run through a brief with
Right.
the pilot about the weather and how we're going to fly, and then we have a medical brief. So we'll chat about how we're going to approach jobs. But then we'll also chat about what training we're going to do for the day and if there's any simulation we're going to do. So,
Right.
because obviously there's certain skills that we don't do as often, thankfully.
Yeah.
And obviously a lot of high risk skills, so we want to train and practice for them so that when we need to do them in real life, we're as ready as we can be.
Wow. Wow, it's amazing.
So yeah, running around. So this box over here, this kind of brown box, is a training box.
Okay.
But is set up exactly the same as our live boxes in which we carry our blood products in.
Oh my goodness.
So we carry fresh fluorescent plasma and red blood cells
Wow.
to administer to patients who are bleeding.
Wow. So that's what you would carry in the vehicle.
Yeah, so this is the
but that's the training
everything
version.
that we've got here is an exact replica of the equipment that we've got on the vehicle, so that we don't have to think about where a piece of equipment is. We can just kind of remember it and get to it as quickly as possible.
So I'm just thinking, I mean, you're quite a young guy, but so you haven't been in this for 20 years, but I mean, have you seen any technologies change in your time as being on the crew?
Yeah, we're constantly. I think I've come at quite a good time actually. We're constantly trying to update our equipment and our bags. So what we've recently moved to is the CMAC, which is a new video laryngoscope. So that's a device which helps us look into a patient's airway so that we're able to intubate them and breathe for them. And the CMAC is a great device which has a large video screen, so that not only the person who's doing the intervention can see, but the whole team can see what's happening, and gives you a good overview, and will hopefully help us with that skill. We're constantly kind of updating our kit bags and trying to kind of tweak and perfect the way that we do things. New drugs, different skills like arterial lines, and that kind of thing. Constantly.
So it's a constant thing of no wonder you have a brief every day, because things are changing all the time and the circumstances are changing.
There's new evidence and new studies ongoing all the time, and what we were doing 5-10 years ago, and even 6 months ago in the whole medicine world of medicine. We're constantly getting new evidence to say, well, maybe we should be doing this slightly different, and so we're changing things all the time. New ventilators, so we've got ventilators that we can kind of tweak how much pressure that we use to provide a breath to somebody, how much air is in that breath.
Amazing.
Automatic CPR devices to perform CPR. So yeah. Constantly kind of trying to innovate and trying to find new ways of doing things and providing a better care for the patients that we see.
Yeah, well, I have to say thank you very much, and hats off to you for what you do. I do appreciate. I think the public appreciate it, but probably never get a chance to say thank you. So I'm going to say thank you on behalf of all the YouTubers watching today.
No
what you do, and Joe here. I think I'd just like to say thank you very much for showing, organising this for me today. But my one question is, if anyone wanted to sort of donate or help you out, where would they go? What should they do?
That's a great question, Rich. So best place is on our website. So that's www.gwac.com. And there's lots of ways you can get involved. You can donate, you can volunteer, you can set up a do-it-yourself fundraising page. And I guess importantly, I want to say thank you to you for having a look around our airbase. It's I go out and I talk to a lot of people about what we do, and I would say 9 times out of 10 people don't realise the added value that we can bring, and the fact that we are a charity utterly reliant on the community we serve to keep us flying. And if you, like me, want to do everything you can to keep this unit going, you can do that by showing some support and either getting in touch with me through the website or through my email at joe@gwac.com. And thank you very much for coming and have a look around.
Thank you a lot, mate. Brilliant. There you go. So after all that time of getting rid of the beard and the hair, it was, a year ago or more, I've finally come to the air ambulance base, and what a fantastic afternoon it's been. And stay safe, everyone. Look out for the air ambulance in the sky. Crack on.